All right, hello once again, everyone. This is Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College, and as part of the Rankin Technical College AWD, or Application and Web Development Online 1100 C# programming course for spring 2024, I've been doing a series of video presentations. Most have been based on the PowerPoint slides for the textbook, which is Muroc C# 8th edition. In addition to that, probably for about the first 11 chapters, I went through several iterations of a payroll program. All right, it probably was about the first 11 chapters. Then the next 5 chapters, I went through and changed that over to an employee program. All right, so and made it object oriented, etc. Now I'm going to be bouncing back and forth in the next several tapes that you're going to get are going to be ones that I'm doing that I'm just going to be creating some applications. I'd like to start here by creating an employee application, totally, basically different from what we have done in the past, and you'll see it in just a bit. Okay, and a couple things before we go. First, I'm going to try to create a class library and put a couple classes in there, and then hook to it with both the console copy of the program I'm going to create and with the online copy of the program I'm going to create. All right. Then after I get done with that, I'm going to write yet another LINQ program, and it's going to be a song search program. And after we write that, I'm going to also write that as a GUI program. So I'll start it, probably do it first, and maybe we'll see, as a console, and then do it as a GUI app. Otherwise, I'll just do it GUI right away. Then when we get done, we're going to try to do as much as possible of the same type of program, but do it using databases. So we're going to encounter stuff from Chapter 18, and stuff from Chapter 19. So 19 and 18 is what I'm saying. So with that said, I'm going to quickly go into here, and I'm going to close a bunch of stuff. I'm going to create a new folder. And this new folder is going to be called CH18-19. I don't know if I'll put everything in here or not. All right, and now I'm going to start up. I've got a lot of things running here, so I'm going to close these things that are running. All right, I want to keep this one up. That's the one I'll be working on towards the end of the semester. And let's start up a new session of Visual Studio. And I'm going to create a new project. The new project is going to be called, it's going to be a console app.NET framework. All right, and it's going to be called, oh, I don't even know. We'll call it Employee Search Console. Employee Search Console. All right, we're going to put that into our new folder we just created that's called CH18-19, and we're going to call the project, I'm just going to call it something very generic, and that's going to be LINQ and DB. Okay, that'll be the name of the solution. So let's create that. And there it is. Okay, now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and create this class library. So to do that, I'm going to go over to my solution right here, not my project, my solution, and I'm going to say to add a new project. I might actually create 2 of them if I do it all in here. So this will be a class library. All right, I'm going to call this, since this is an employee search, I'm going to call this employee library. Now, part of the reason I think I might have been having problems in here is that I'm using the long-term support. Now, I'm not sure if what I'm going to do is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm going to drop way down to .NET Standard 2.0. All right, and then I'm going to click Create. And we've got this new class library. All right, well, that's a start. So what are we going to put into our new class library? Well, we're going to put a couple things into it. The first thing that we're going to put into it is we're going to put into it a new class that's called employee. Now, I'm going to double click where it says class 1. And I'm going to right mouse click and choose rename. And I'm going to type in here employee. Hit enter. And it changed it in here to employee. And it says employee in here also. So this will look similar but not identical to stuff we've done in the past. I'm going to come in here and do this. And I'll explain it also. Give me a second to put it all in. So let's see. I want that. So the next one will be address. These are all strings. I'm going to make that state. And I'm going to make that zip code. Okay. I'll change it in a second. All right, so let's move this over, and that'll be zip code. Now, I'm not done yet, but I want to explain what I've done. This right here, just so you know this, okay, doing this is a shortcut. It's a shortcut for me doing this, and that is coming in here and saying private string first name. I'm going to get errors. Don't worry about that. All right, because I'm naming it twice. And then coming in and saying public string first name. In fact, this would have to be lowercase. All right, let me comment this out for right now. All right, so then I'd come in and I do this, and I'd say get return first name, and then I'd say set, and I'd say first name equal value. So this, if I'm doing the standard thing of just doing a return, and so just doing a standard getter and setter, I can replace that with this. A lot less typing. There's nothing wrong with doing it either way, and it's still done both ways. All right. So there's that. Okay. Now, the only other thing I'm going to put in here is I'm going to override the toString method. Okay. I'm not going to put, I could put a constructor in here where either I just did an empty constructor, and since they're all strings, they would all be the empty string, or I could put in a regular constructor and fill up everything. I'm not doing either one, but I am going to come in here and overwrite the toString method. And what this means, just so you know, what this means is when I later come back in here and say that I want to go in and write this stuff out, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to return, and this is going to be a big, long, hairy thing. First name plus first name plus, and I could do this with literals. I'm just doing it this way. Last name plus last name, and next SOSEC num, not the best, but that's what I'm going to use, for the Social Security number, plus the Social Security number. Next, the address. And I'm padding this out with some blanks, as you can see. We'll put one here too. Don't know if that'll actually work and make it look the way I want it to, but it's fine. Plus the address, plus the city, plus city, plus the state, and the state, and finally plus the zip code. Plus the zip code. That is my entire employee class right there. So public string, last name, social security number, address, city, state, and zip. Now, should I have had the social security number first? Not to be funny, but who the hell cares? All right, so we've got that. So that's the first thing I put into my library. All right, so file, save all. Now, the next thing I'm going to put in there, because I don't want you to have to watch me type for an hour. I've already got a bunch of stuff that I've created for this. So I'm going to bring that in right now. How am I going to do that? I'm going to right mouse click on my employee library, and I'm going to choose Add Existing Item, and I've got to go find it. So it's on my desktop. It starts with CH18. There it is. Employee Search Console. And it's this, I think it's the Employee Manager. All right, so it brought it in. Let's see if that's it. That is it. So what is it? All right, don't worry. This employee will be fixed soon. All right, but I'm going to come in here, and these are my records. So I've got, what, 34 minus 15? I've got about 20 employees. Each employee has a first name. Each employee has a last name. I'm going to line all this up so you can see exactly what I'm doing here. So each employee has a first name. Each employee has a last name. Each employee has a social security number. This is all fictitious data that I just made up as I was sitting at home one day. All right. Each employee has an address. Each employee has a city. Let me move this over. You don't have to do this, of course, and you could argue that I'm wasting my time and yours. Probably be right. All right, each employee has a state, and these were all people from either Illinois or Missouri. All right. And each employee has a zip code. You can see they're all put in there, and they're all put in there as strings. Now it's giving me errors because as of right now, it doesn't know what employee is. All right, so let's see if we can make it figure out what employee is. So use employee library, using employee library. Yeah, that's a good start. Now all those errors are gone. All right, So this is going to be my data. So what I've shown you in here so far has been two files, both of which were created inside of an employee library. All right, and they are the employee class itself, right here, and the employee manager that I'm going to use to hold my data. All right, so for right now at least, I'm going to try to close all this stuff and hopefully it'll work. So here's my program. So again, I put in my class, I put in my data, and now I want to put in my program. All right. So what I'm going to do here is kind of the equivalent of creating a database. But rather than a database, it's that list. All right. So I created a list of 20 employee objects. All right. And they lived in either Illinois or Missouri. Okay. I'm going to provide a very simple, remember, this is a console app, user interface for this. All right. And I'm going to put a whole bunch of stuff in here so you can start seeing how LINQ is used. All right. So let's start with this. So I'm going to put in some constants. In fact, I'm going to put in 6 of them. And I'm not even sure if I'm going to use most of these or not. Remember, I've got to give them a value. So equals, and they're all going to be strings. So they're all going to be within double quotes. Not that, not a colon, a double quote. So no value inputted for search criteria. That's the first one. All right, I'm just going to copy this 5 more times, but I'm going to change the name every time. All right, this one is going to say no last name found. All right, and that's going to say no employee last name matching input criteria, search criteria found. So this search criteria that's here, and then the word found. All right. The next one is going to be no address found. And that was no employee last name. And I'm just going to grab all this. And we'll change it a little bit. So this will be no employee address matching search criteria found. All right, the next one will be city. So this one will be no city. So that'll be no employee city matching input search criteria found. Move this over and move this back. There we go. And this next one will be no state. And again, very similar to what I just did. And it will say no employee state matching input search criteria found. All right, and finally, we're going to be able to check for the zip code. So no zip code found. And I'm not sure how many of these or which of these I will or will not be using, to be honest with you. I might get rid of a bunch of them. We'll see. Now this got screwed up, so we're going to fix it right now. And that's all on me. There we go. Now, they're all green because they've been assigned, or they've been declared rather, but they haven't been assigned. All right. So those are my constants. Okay. I'm also going to have a global variable, just one. And it's going to be a static list of type employee that I'm going to call employees, and it's going to be equal to employee manager dot load data. Now, what's the problem here? The problem right here is, all right, the problem right here is that the system is confused, for lack of better words. All right, well, static, it says the modifier static is not something for this item. I think it's because the rest of it's giving me an error. So we've got this in here. Now, look on the bottom. Please look on the bottom of my screen. It says, do you want to add a reference to the employee library? Yes, I do. So it brought in here using employee library. All right. Now, don't worry. I'm still going to look at these because I'm not sure why that's not working. But if we have to, we'll remove it. All right. So when we move the word, this word here, and we'll put it in like that. Now, it doesn't like this employee manager. All right. So it says, do you want to use the employee LB02? I don't know what the hell that is. I do know what it is. When I brought this in, when I brought in the manager, I did not change the namespace to employee library. Stupid me. So this should say employee library. They both should. So file, save all. Let's go back again to here. And notice no errors. All right. So we're going to write a bunch of code now. How much? A couple hundred lines. All right. And we'll see if we can get the puppy to work. All right. So I'm going to start with main. In fact, I put all of this into main. See that? All right. And that's okay, except really, since these are global constants, I should have put them outside of main and put them right there. And I should have taken this. So constants there, and my global variable, and watch when I do this, watch what happens. It now will want static in there, I believe. All right. Okay. Those are all the preliminaries. So now I'm in main. I want to write this, and I want this to be modular. All right. So int option. We're going to make a simple menu, and whatever they pick is going to be the menu option they select. Bool run again equal true. That's like our keep going type of variable that we've used. So while run again, that should be equal true, and that's why it's giving me an error here. All right, so while run again, option equals show menu. Now we're going to get an error because we don't have a routine called show menu. We will in a moment after we write that one. So we will call correct function. We haven't written that one either. And finally, we'll have run again equals, and we'll call this another time. In other words, do I want to run the program again? Now, as I've already said, we're getting errors on all three of these because they haven't been written yet. All right. This is going to have to return something because there's an equal sign there. This is going to have to return something because it's got an equal sign here. This will not return anything. So let's comment these two lines out, and we'll uncomment them when we're ready to write them. All right. So the next thing I want to write here is show menu. All right. So this is going to be a static int. It's going to return an int, and it's called show menu. All right, and it's going to be a big string that we put in there that's going to say enter a 0 or enter a 1 if you want to do this, a 2 if you want to do this. So we're going to have 9 options. All right, so give me a second here, and we'll put all of them in. So I'm going to say here string. I'll call this selection. I could call it option again if I wanted to, or I could have passed option, but I didn't. Int selection chosen, that's the one we picked. Bool result. All right, all these should make sense in a couple minutes. String, we're going to call this menu str, and we're going to set it equal to please choose one of the following options. All right, \n. Okay, and a semicolon. Now we're going to have 9 options. To try to make my life a little easier, I'm going to copy this part, not the string, but everything else that's in here. And I'm going to, oops, that was great. All right, so right here, and I'm going to copy it once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hopefully I put it in there 9 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, so I don't want any of this stuff in here, but I'm going to change each one accordingly. Enter a 1 to show all employees by last name ascending order. Let's just make a little room here. So 3, 4, that'll be 5, that'll be 6, that will be 7, that will be 8, and that will be 9. All right, so enter a 1 to show all employees by last name ascending order. Enter a 2 to show all employees by address. I'm going to put in ascending order just because I like, it sounds a little better English-wise. So in ascending order. Enter a 3 to show all employees by city in ascending order. Enter a 4 to show all employees by state, and notice that I spelled that wrong, in ascending order. Enter a 5 to show all employees by zip code in ascending order. Enter a 6 to show one or more employees by last name using criteria. And we're going to actually have 3 of these, so let me just grab all this, and then we'll make a couple changes. All right, so that'll be a 6. That means this will be a 7. And this will be by address using criteria. And this will be an 8. And this will be by city using criteria. All right, and finally this will say enter a 9 to exit the program now. I'm going to have 2 \n there. And then I'm going to say menu string. And all these have to be plus equals or this won't work. Plus equal. And this will say, please enter a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, now. Okay. And then I'm going to do a write, so a console.write, and I'm going to write menu string. Now, you may or may not have any idea what I just did. All right, let me add one more line here that says option equal, it's select option, sorry, selection equal console.readline. So let's just look at what we've done so far. All right, now this is not returning anything, so it's giving us an error. I'm just going to put here return 0, just so we don't get that error. All right, so we don't have any errors in here anymore. So let me run this so you can see right now with what we've done so far, what it looks like. So there's what we did, and I forgot a \n there. So we wrote this menu and we said, now enter one of these. All right, so if I put in, say a 4, it's not doing anything else. So let's fix this. So there's the missing \n. All right, so let's run it again. Now it looks the way we want it to look. All right, enter a 1, enter a 2, but it doesn't matter. All it's going to do is go back again and tell you to do it again. See, none of them work right now. That's okay. So far, this works. All right, now we're asking them to enter a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, but it's possible they either enter a number other than that or they enter something non-numeric. So let's come in here. Let's do a validation check of selection input. So this right here, and that's pretty obvious, I think, is build menu. Okay, so that's what I'm doing there. Notice selection is no longer greened out because we are using it. So I'm going to say here result equal int 32.tryParse. We're going to try to parse that selection, and we're going to try to put the result into selection chosen, whatever they chose. Now we need the word out in front of this. All right. In English, that's saying take whatever we put in here and attempt to convert it into a number. All right. If it doesn't work, it wasn't a number. So if not result, well, we put in something non-numeric. So we'll just do here, we're going to say write, you must enter a number between 1 and 9. Try again. Okay. So what doesn't it like here? I somehow have got 2 parens. There. Okay. So we're going to do a read line here. And guess what we're going to do next? We're going to send them right back to the menu, to show menu. So I need console here, console.readline, and then a call to show menu. That should say read line. And this will be another call to show menu. What have I done now in here? I want to show you. So I'm going to do a file, save all, and I'm going to run this. You saw this before. Now I'm going to put in something non-numeric. Let's put in nothing. You must enter a number between 1 and 9. Try again. Hit enter, and it lets you try it again. Okay? So it's handling that. That should have been a right, not a right line. Okay? All right. Now, so this is validation check of selection input numeric. So we'll put that a validation numeric check. So if we get down to here, they did put in a number, but it might be out of range. So else if the option, what do we call that? Selection chosen, unless if that's less than 1, or it's greater than 9. All right, then then what do we do? Well, we put in something that's again wrong. So we're going to show them, we're basically going to do this, but give them a different error. Now we could have combined all this and put this into one thing, this and this. I could have done that. Just for the heck of it, I changed it around a little bit. That's it. I changed it around a little bit. So let's bring that in here. I'm going to say non-numeric input, try again. And here I'm going to say out of range input, try again. And we're doing the same thing both times. All right, if we get down to here, we now have an option. So I'm going to return the selection option. Right there. What doesn't it like? Selection chosen, not selection option. Okay, so we run the program. File, save all. We run the program here. We don't put in anything. We get non-numeric input, try again. We put in something non-numeric. Okay, well, now we put in something non-numeric. We get non-numeric input, try again. So we put in something out of range, 99. Okay, 99. Now we get out of range input, try again. So what I'm going to do is whenever we get to the beginning of this routine, this show menu, I'm going to put console.clear here. Why? I'm going to run the program and show you why. So there's my original menu. I'm going to leave it blank. Non-numeric input, try again. Hit enter, and it cleared. And it's put it up here again. So now if I put in this, non-numeric input, try again. Now if I put something out of range input, try again. And if I put in something between 1 and 9, it worked. It did. Don't worry about it because it worked. It went back to the function again. So we have now completed show menu. All right. So now the next one we need is we need to call correct function. All right. We need to call the correct function. And that function needs to know what this option was. So we're going to pass option to it. All right, we're going to call correct function. We're getting there because we haven't written this yet. We're going to write it right now. Okay, So far we've written show menu, and that's been it. All right. So, and that was a static int show menu, and this is going to be a static void call correct function. We're passing in an int which has in it that option. All right. Now, what's this going to be? Well, this is going to be a big switch statement that's going to call 9 different functions, none of which have been written. All right. None of which have been written. So let's come in here. We're going to do a switch on the option. All right. And we're going to have case 1 through case 9. Now I'm going to hit enter and hit enter again and put in break. I'm going to write all these, but I just want you to see them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And I'll put in a default as well. Now it's giving me errors because I can't use the number 1 every time. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and default. Now with that default, all I do want to do is break here, so that can have a colon. I don't know what happened there. It should have said default. And break. All right. Okay. Now, why did I do this? Because we're going to be calling 9 functions that don't exist. So I'm going to put each function in there. Okay. And then I'm going to write the function. Then I'll put the next one in there and write that function. So we've got 9 of these. So the first one is going to be called show employees by last name ascending. What is that? Guess what? You know what that is. That is this. So 1 there is also 1 here. So I'm going to go down and write this one next. All right. So let me write this routine. It'll be a static void, and it's show. Let's make sure I spelled it right. There's nothing passed into it, and it's going to return nothing. So that error is gone, and that error is gone. See that? All right. So these are not going to be humongous functions, but we're going to write them now anyway. So clear, console.clear. All right, and now I'm going to set up my LINQ query after I put in this. All right, so I'm going to say var last name ascending equals, remember how these are set up. You say from E in employees, order by E dot last name, and we want that in ascending order. Looks like this is case sensitive here, and it wants it all in lowercase. And then E dot first name, again in ascending order. All right. Finally, we want to select E. That is our query. So we're telling it to go through this employee table, and that employee table, remember, is this thing. And we're going to want it to list these in ascending order based on first name. So if I have somebody whose first name starts with A, I can't see one, it'll go and show them. Now, here's Bob. In fact, here's Bill. Nope. Ben, then Bill, then Bob, then Brian. So they should be showing first. All right. And there's 2 Bills, a Bill Green and a Bill White. All right. So that's that one. Now we have to come in here and do this. This is kind of like a heading. We're going to say console.WriteLine. Here are your employees. Come on, Jeff. Your employees by last name in ascending order. All right. And then we're going to put in a loop and do this. For each var e in last name ascending, WriteLine, console.WriteLine, console.WriteLine e. And then when we're all done, we're going to do a read line. Now, and it's got to be a console.readLine. Okay? All I've done is the first one, but let's see if it works. So, File, Save All. I'm going to run the program, and I'm going to put in here a 1. And it should show me all the employees by last name. And I guess I showed you first name, but it's by last name in ascending order. So 1. And boy, that is ugly, but let's look. Let's make it smaller so you can see everything. So what do we have here? Well, let's look at the last name. All right, I didn't put any spaces there, but look. Adams, Black, Brown, Bryant, they're in ascending order. All right, so the first one's working. All right, we've got 1 done. 1 of 9. All right, so I'm going to grab this, one I just created. I'm going to copy it to the clipboard, and I'm going to paste it in. And I'm going to change this to show employees by address ascending. Again, I'll clear, and this won't be last name ascending. This will be address ascending. And now we're going to order it by address ascending. Now, if we want to, we can also add e.last name ascending and e.first name ascending. We can put that in, it won't hurt anything. So here are your employees by address in ascending order. All right, so this is going to be address ascending. All right, now we've got to grab this one here, in fact, this whole thing, and that'll be our number 2. So now we should be able to put in a number 2 and get them in order by address. You already saw the number 1. All right, now I'm going to come in here and put in a 2. So here's their addresses. Where is it? Address. Doesn't look like it's in ascending order, though. All right. So something's host there. We'll have to fix that. We will. In fact, address is kind of stupid. Let's make it by social security number. All right. So we're going to call this by social security number. SOC sec number ascending. And we'll change the name of this one to SOC sec number ascending. This will be SOC sec number. Okay. So will this. All right. They're not going to be 2 people with the same social security number, so I don't need that. So this will be by social security number. All right. Now I'm going to have to change my thing up here to, instead of address, I'm going to change this to social security number. Okay, so let's Now, the other thing too is when this stuff is all listing, all right, it's pretty ugly. What do I mean? Well, when it's showing everything, all right, when we're coming in here and we're showing it all, like this, console.writeLine, we don't have any blank spaces between any of this stuff. It's all just running together. So we'd have to fix that. All right, no biggie really. Let's do a number 2 now, and let's look at and see if they're by social security number. All right, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. So you can see that's working. All right. All right, so we've got that one done. So there's 2 of them. Now, let's see. So far, we're not using these, so we may not end up using those at all. I don't know. So here's number 3, and the next one is by city. So it show this by city ascending, which we haven't written yet, so we're getting an error. Okay, let's copy the one we just did, which was social security number, and we'll change it to city. All right, so this will now become city ascending. All right, as will this. All right, and this will be city. All right, and we will put in here then E dot last name ascending, E dot first name ascending. We technically don't need the word ascending in there because it does that by default. So this will be by city in ascending order. So let's look at that one and see if we've now got 3 that are working. Doesn't like something in here. Show, oh, gotta get that mess out of there. There we go. File, save all. Let's run it again. We'll put in a 3 for the city. All right, and let's look. So let's look at our cities. Belleville, Highland, St. Louis. And with the Belleville, what you'd find if you looked is the people are in order based on last name and then first name. Okay, so we've got that one done. All right, after city, we had state. So I'm going to copy the city and change the name to state. Change this to state. And this to state. And this to state. And this to state. So now all of our Illinois people should show before all of our Missouri people. So that's a number 4. Illinois, 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 and all of our Missouri. Now there is a way when you print this, I don't remember what it is, to give these things, to give them a length. And I should do that because then this would work and it'd be a lot easier for you to see. All right, so we did city, we did state, and the next one is zip code. So I'm going to copy this and paste it again. And this will be by zip code. All right, and this will say zip code. as will this, and this will say zip code as well. All right, so that one's done, and now we can call that one. Whoop, that was state. We want zip code. All right. I think that was number 5. Semicolon, let's run it and see if it's giving it to us by zip code. So a 5. So there's our zip codes. 62223, 63113, etc. All is working. All right. So the next one was by last name criteria. Now, unfortunately, for these last 3 or 4, they're longer. All right, so it'll take a little bit longer to write these. So I'll write the first one, and then we'll copy them in again like we have been doing. So we've got 6, 7, 8, and 9. When we get to 9, we're done. So we want to call exit program now. Let's write that one next. So exit program now. All right, we haven't written it, which is why we're getting that error. All right, and down at the bottom, we're going to put it at the very bottom here. All right, so this is going to be static void exit program now. We will again clear. Oops, I don't need a semicolon there, sorry. So we will again do a console.clear and do a write line, console.writeLine, that says program terminating normally, goodbye. And we'll do a read line, console.readLine. And the way that you can end a console program is to say environment.exit 0. Okay? Let's see now if we enter a 9 if the program stops. File, save all. Put in a 9. Program terminating normally, goodbye. Hit enter again, and it stopped. All right. So we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got to do 6, 7, and 8. And then we'll be finished with this one. All right. What am I doing for time? All right, I'm near an hour, so this will be the first lecture. All right, so we need to write these, and we need 3 different criteria: last name criteria, an address criteria, and a city or something like that. So this first one is going to be called show employees by last name criteria. Again, we haven't written it yet, and that's why it's showing it to us as an error. So let's go down here and we'll start to write it. I'm going to put it right up above our exit program now. So it'll be a static void. There it is. Oops. And we're going to actually have 3 of these. So let me just write all 3 of them now. We will have a show employees by last name criteria. We'll have a show employees by address criteria, and another one for last name, address, and city. So last name, address, and city. Okay, believe it or not, we're almost done here. So let's grab this. This will be 6. Show it by last name criteria. Then we'll have, oh, yeah, that's last name criteria. Then we will have address criteria, and finally we'll have city criteria. All right, we still have to write those functions, but everything else is done. There's no errors right now. That's great. All right. You can see how big this program is already getting. It's already 230 lines. By the time I get done, it'll be closer to 300. All right, so first we're doing the last name. I'm going to start with a console.clear. Okay, and a string that's going to hold the last name. All right, and whoops. And I'm going to put a console.write here. It says enter an employee last name to search for. Okay. Last name equal console.readline. So we're going to read that in. If the last name dot trim, if we put in nothing, so if it's equal to nothing, we didn't enter anything. So we're going to call show message, show error message, and we're going to put in here nothing inputted. In fact, we could put in here a better one. That is no last, what do we have? That's no last name found. We'll put in here we'll put in here nothing inputted. Okay, so show error message. We're getting an error because we didn't write show error message yet. All right. Else, so we put in something. It may or may not exist. So there may be nothing in there. So I'm going to get rid of, because of the way I wrote this, I changed it around after I wrote it the first time. I don't think I'm going to need any of these. Okay. All right. So let's see. Let's write that show error message, because we're going to be calling that for all three of these. And it's not real long. In fact, it's pretty short. So that's the show error message. Okay, we're going to call it from there. We're going to call it from here. We're going to call it from here. So static void show error message. So what do we want to put in here? All right, well, some kind of a message. What message will that be? All right, right line. Let's see. If there's nothing in there, we'll call show error message, and we'll print nothing inputted. Okay, so when we call show error message, we have to pass it something. We'll call that message string message. And what we're going to do is we're going to say console dot write line message. Okay. All right. So we've got that handled. This should be a capital S. So if we left it blank, we're going to show nothing inputted. That's fine. Let's keep going. Until we get down to this else, there was something we inputted. So var last names equal, and I'm going to put from E in employees, order by E dot last name ascending. We can put first name too, it doesn't matter. Where E dot last name dot to upper dot contains last name dot to upper. And what we're doing is we're saying, did what we just entered for a last name match one of the names that we have in our database? If it does, we'll select it. All right. And then write line, console.writeLine, last names matching inputted criteria. Okay, and we'll come in here and we will say for each var ln for last name in last names write line ln for last name. Somehow again we've got an extra paren. Okay, that's it. So let's copy this right here, copy it, and I'm going to paste it in here, and we're just going to change. So this is address, so this has to become address. This is address. This will be address. This will be address. This will be address. This will be addresses. And this is addresses as well. All right. So again, we have no errors. So let's do the last one, which is city. Then we're going to go back and look at everything. Whoops. Bring this whole puppy in here. Right there. In there. All right, so I want to come in here. This is city. What did I do here? So I had last name and first name. That's fine. Here, where is my show error message? I am missing that. There we go. Okay. And there's city. So we've got city plus we want first name. We'll do last name and then first name. All right. This again is city. This is city. And this is cities. And this is cities. We'll make that a C for city. You could keep it LN. It doesn't hurt anything. We're going to make this an A for address. Okay. And we now have no errors. Now you've already seen all of them except when we're searching. So let's search. So file, save all. Let's run it. All right. And I'm going to put in here a, well, let's start with we did a 1, we did a 2, we did a 3. I think we did a 4, but let's, in case, we'll put in a 4. All right. Those are all by city. So there's our Bellevues, Highland, etc. I don't know why that one would be. Again, I've got to find a way to get those things so they're separated. All right, let's put in a 5. That's going to be by zip code. So there they are. There's our 623s. There's our 63113. So that's working. All right, so let's run it again. And we will put in a 6, which is by last name. Okay, enter a last name to search for. I know there's an Adams in there. Well, that was interesting. It didn't show anything. Thought there was an Adams in there. Let's find one we know is in there. Well, it says Adams. There's a Black, Brown, a Brian. Let's try Brian. Six, Brian. It's not showing it. All right, or it's showing it and it's just jumping away like that. All right, so a last name to search for. We've got this. I need a read line after that. So I need one there. And I need one there. And I will need one there. All right, let's run it again. So we said Adams. So let's put in a 6. Adams. There it is. Mike Adams. Okay. Now what I could do, but this would be really ugly, is we could try to print each one of these things and then put it on its own line. But that's just going to be way too much output. So let's run it again and put in a 7. Now we're searching for an address. Now it doesn't have to be a complete address. All right, but let's find an address in here. I'm just going to grab one, so I'll grab this. 5432 Green. In fact, there's a bunch of them here on Green Drive. So let's bring in Green Drive. See if we can match multiple ones, all of whom should be living on Green Drive. And there they are. Green Drive, Green Drive. All right, let's run it one last time. And now it's city. So we'll put in an 8. And the city we want will be Belleville. And there's all the people who live in Belleville. All right, so we finished that one. So let's take a very quick look at this. I mean very quick, it's getting late already. All right, so what did we do? We first came in and we set up a library, all right, that we called employee library. We put an employee class in it. This is why this is printing out so badly. I got to fix it here. So first name plus, let's put a tab after each one of these. That'll really make this look a hell of a lot nicer in just a minute. Now it might almost whip off the page, but that's okay. All right, so let's try this. File, save all, and see if it looks nicer. Put in a 1. All right. All right. A couple of them are going almost off the page here, but notice first name, last name, social security number, address, etc. So it is working now. Some of them are going to look funky because I gave them very short names. Okay. All right, looks much better already. And I'm going to put 2 of them before the, which one was that? That looks so funny. So city is fine, state is fine, zip code is fine. All right, address is okay. But before address, we need another tab because that's way too close. So we'll put in 2 of these after the social security number. Run it again. Again, this isn't perfect by any means. Let's put in a 4. All right. So now when you look at it, first name, last name, social security number, address, city, state, zip. All right, make it a little smaller. Okay, it still is too much. It's going over 80 characters, so it's too wide for the screen. That's all. All right. Don't know if this would work, but I'm going to try to replace this with a couple spaces and see if that'll work. All right, it's almost there, as you can see. I made it look a hell of a lot better than it did look. So where I've got Ben here, I've got to change that. Ben and Ken. So let's change Ben and Ken and Doe. Okay. I know I'm being a little squirrely here. So these, Bob, I'm going to make Bobby. Ben, I'm going to make Benny. And for the last name of, there was a Doe in here, I think. I'm going to make it Doe's. Okay, hopefully that was enough to fix all the problems that I had. 1. All right, look at that output. First name, last name, social security number, address, city, state, zip. Looking pretty good now. Okay. All right. So what did we do here? We created an employee class. All right. In the class library. Then we created this thing called load data. And all that does is when the program starts, it loads in this data. It's a list of names, addresses, cities, states, zips, etc. That's what we return. Then in the program itself, it's actually a fairly simple program. I know that's easy for you to say, Jeff, but it is. It's 308 lines long. So we don't need any of these. So now it's closer to 300. All right. And look at it in here. I put employee search console and I forgot the E. I don't like that. Should be able to rename that and put an E in here. And that should have fixed it. All right, I'm going to change it here as well. So I'm going to rename it there too. Okay. All right, so you come in here and we've got one constant, no value was input for the search criteria. I didn't show you that, but if I come in here and I run this and I put in a 7 and it comes back and it says enter an address, if I put nothing in, it comes back and boom, it went right off the screen. What does that mean? It means I'm missing a read line. In my show error. Okay, there should be a read line after this. All right, and if I run it again now, and I put in a 7, and it says enter an address to search for. If I put in nothing, I get no value entered for search criteria. Okay, that's good. There's only one more thing that I forgot to do. So coming in here then, we put in this big menu. Enter a 1 to do this, enter a 2 to do this, etc. So we've got all that stuff in there. Then we're asking them to choose one. Okay? Then we parse their selection. If it wasn't a number, we come back and say you had non-numeric input, and we call show menu again. If they put in something that's out of range, so again, this is validation number check right here. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say for the else, this is validation range check. All right. If we get down to here, it worked. So then they put in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9. If they put in a 1, we call this. A 2, we call this. A 3, we call this. A 4, we call this. A 5, we call this. The 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5s are basically the same. The only thing that's different in here is the name of the function, the name of the variable that we're creating, and what we're ordering it by. Other than that, it's the same function. And then for our last one, 6, 7, 8, 9, when we're doing the criteria, all right, we're doing a similar thing, but we're asking you to enter a last name to search for. All right. So again, I don't know if we have anybody whose last name is Green, but we're going to check. So I'm going to come in here and say 6 Green. And it found 1. All right, last name's matching. And you can see it's Bill Green and all of Bill's information. All right. There it is. All right. If we run it again and put in now a 7 for the address, and again, remember there was a Green Drive, and now it found 2 of them. Mark Freed and Gene Brown, who both live on Green Drive. Now if we do a city, and we put in here St. Louis, this is case independent. So when I put that in, there's all our people who live in St. Louis, and I didn't change Ken Kramer. So let's change him right now. We're going to make him Kent Kramer. So if I run that one more time, and again I put in an 8, and I put in St. Louis, there they all are. Okay. All right, so we're done with that one. The next thing I would like to do then, not in this lecture, but my next lecture, is I'm going to come back and let's see. That's actually a really good start. All right, so what I think I'm going to do next is I'm going to write a similar thing to this, but I'm going to search for songs. All right. But what I want you to get out of this, what I want you to take a look at in here, is in our program, we're writing queries. From that table, ordering it by those fields where we have that criteria, give me what matches. All right. So I'm done with this. I'm going to come in next in here where we're working. How did I close that already? I don't know. All right. And again, this is LINQ, etc. And right now, what we have in here is an employee, an employee console, right? That's what we have in here. All right. So we're going to come in and we're going to do 2 more things when we start up again. 3 more things. We're going to write a song library. Then we're going to write a song console program. And then we're going to write a song GUI program so you can see it GUIized as well. All right. I don't know if that will be 1 lecture, 2 lectures tomorrow. I have no idea. And I'll take it from there. Okay. I'll see you then.